1.1 questionnaire. So how to prepare a questionnaire, right? So yeah, a questionnaire. So when you are preparing a questionnaire, so first you identified what is your sample, right? So once you are ready with your sample, the next thing is you have to prepare the tool, you have to prepare the questionnaire, right? You have to prepare the research instrument. So what is the research instrument here? We are going with the question. So how to prepare the questionnaire? First, so as I mentioned already, identify your population and select a sample for the survey. So here you must ready with your population and your sample, right? Population is, for example, population. So I would like to go with devotees or something. Maybe you can select anything. Just I've given example of BTech students, BTech first year students. Similarly, I would like to take some BR students, BR, right? Those who are studying architecture. So you have selected that students, that is population. And next, how many number, right? You have to define how many members. So that maybe your sample, you decide that one. So once it is done, next, ready to collect the information that answers or solves your research problem. So this, I'm keep on saying, everyone must be ready with their research issue or research problem. So once you are ready with the problem or issue, then the next task is to collect information. So what information you would like to collect? So that information should answer your research problem. That information should answer the question, right? So that's what you are collecting information. So you just keep that in mind when you are preparing the questionnaire. So you have to solve the issue. You have to answer the question. You have to solve the problem. Right. So yeah, the questionnaire is the best way to elicit information from the population you want to study. So why we are preparing the questionnaire? Because it is the best way to elicit the information. Elicit. So best way to get the information right from the population. So population is we have the larger group. So you want to study. So based on the output, based on the result, you are generalizing it to the entire population, not to the sample. So you collect data from the sample and you generalize it to the population. So that's the one. And next, formulated a list of questions to ensure getting the results you want. So why you are taking this? Maybe you are formulating a list of questions. You are constructing different types of questions to get the information, right? Get the information you are going to use to answer the questions, right? Answer the question. Okay, you started your report with a question, with a concept, with a problem, with an issue. So you are collecting here the information. That information is going to help you to answer those questions in the beginning you have, right? So that's the one. Next, so yeah, while preparing a questionnaire, keep the problem in mind. So when you are preparing the questionnaire, so you must have the clarity about your problem. So right, what is the problem you are working on? What is the research issue you are working on? What question you are going to answer at the end of your report? So that is important. If you keep the problem or issue or question in your mind, then only you can prepare the questionnaire to get answers to those problems, right? That's the one. And next, questions must give you appropriate and valid reliable data. So when you are preparing the questions, so you have to keep the problem in mind, and at the same time that question should get the information you want, right? Whatever the information you are expecting, so you must get through your questions. That is important. And next, what are the guidelines for preparing questionnaire? So there are certain guidelines you need to follow while preparing the questionnaire. So here, the construction of the questionnaire will influence the value of the answer. That's what. So if you want to get valid answers, you have to construct the questionnaire very carefully and consciously. If you prepare your questionnaire carefully and consciously, you will get the responses what you expected, what you anticipated, right? To get the anticipated responses, you need to construct your questionnaire carefully, right? So keep the questionnaire as short as possible. So you just keep your questionnaire simple and short, so that it's easy for the respondents to respond, right? Because when you make lengthy questions, what happens, the respondents may read it and they do not understand, then what, they read to the second time, don't understand, leave it. So that's what you have to make it simple, right? For example, so that's important ones. And next, make the questions concerned with one aspect only. Like I would like to know what degree the respondent is studying, and at the same time which branch. So then don't ask what is the branch and which degree you are pursuing or which degree you are studying, right? Maybe which leads to you are asking two three in one question. So it's difficult for them. So you just focus on one aspect, like what is your highest degree, right? So you can ask what is the highest, what is your highest degree. So you just ask that way. Otherwise, you can also provide with choices, right? What are the choices? Maybe you provide what are the higher degree, because you know your sample. So what degree you are expecting, you can mention like BTech, BSc, BCA, right? BArch and BA, BBA, something like that. So you have these degrees in your mind. So you keep them as options so that they will pick any of those degrees you have mentioned in the questionnaire, right? So you will get responses easily. So that's what these are some of the guidelines for preparing questionnaire. So when you are preparing the questions, you have to ensure this, right? So and okay, so if you make the question on one aspect, so you can get the data efficiently, right? For example, how important is food in your selection of a hotel? How important is accommodation? How important is service, right? So these questions, like you are talking about one hotel survey, so you can ask about all this. Don't ask like how much importance do you give for food, accommodation, service in your choice of hotel, right? It's a lengthy question. So that's what you have to make three the one question into simple, like how important is food in your selection of a hotel. Next, how important is accommodation, how important is service, like you are segregating one into three simple short questions, so the respondents also can give responses easily. Next one, so the next one, this is also important, you just look at the types of questions. Yes, Ma, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes, thank you. Thank you for responding. Right. Let us look at what are the different types of questions. So here, the questions are types of questions. So it is like divided into two: closed-ended questions, open-ended questions. Closed-ended questions. Here we have dichotomous questions, multiple choice questions, ranking or rating questions. In open-ended questions, fill in the blank questions, short answer questions, restatement questions. These are here overall we have six different types of questions. So when you are preparing your questions, so you can follow this in your uh, questionnaire. So let us look at closed-ended questions. First one, closed-ended questions. So dichotomous. First one is under closed-ended. First, what is closed-ended? Here, when we say closed-ended, right? Closed-ended questions provide the respondent a set or list of possible responses. So here in this closed-ended, what happens? So here, the person who is preparing the questionnaire who provides list of possible responses. Okay, so that the respondent has to choose from the given responses. Okay, here respondent doesn't require to think. Only he can select from the given or provided list. So that's what it's called closed-ended questions. So why we use closed-ended questions? When we need specific, precise, and reliable information. Okay, so that's what when we require very specific and precise, reliable information, then we use closed-ended questions. These questions generally require respondent to identify the appropriate and designated answer. So identify and select the appropriate answer. So first one, dichotomous questions. So dichotomy, right? When we say this dichotomous, which means division of two, di means two, cotomous maybe it's separating two parts. right? In this question, we have it has two parts. So, like for example, do you own a car? So here we are asking a question like, do you own a car? The response may be two options. We are giving only two options: yes, no, right? Yes, no. In case again, if you want some information, if they select yes, right? So if else, which car? So you can ask them. So what is the what model and all that? You can ask that. So this is dichotomous question. So here we try to get responses from the respondents. Second one, multiple choice questions, right? Multiple choice questions here. The respondent
What?
may, yes, ma'am. Yeah, respondent may choose among several possible choices. Right here, may respondent may choose any one option from the several possible choices. Sometimes maybe multiple choice, multiple options. Sometimes maybe one among the several possible choices. So it's again based on the instruction, based on the person who is collecting the data. So whichever way he wants, he can select in that manner. And the third one, ranking questions, right? The third one, ranking questions or rating questions. Generally, these questions reflect, right? These questions reflect about the degree of the respondent's feelings about the topic, right? So yeah, simply asking about respondent whether it is important or unimportant. So we can give a kind of scale, right? A kind of 6 point scale or 4 point scale. Like here we have excellent, very good, good, average, poor. So you have used 5 point scales, right? So you can ask them to rate 1 to 5. So where do you rate this, right? So you are rating some option. Maybe you are rating somebody's view. So how do you rate this? How would you rate your communication skills on the scale of 1 to 5? How would you rate your communication skills on the scale of 1 to 5? So here we are asking you, right? Not somebody else. So you just check it based on your confidence and based on how you are good at your communication skills. You have to give yes. If you think I'm good, so you can give 5. 5 is the best, and if you give 1, it is the poor, right? So here you are rating about one statement. Maybe it's a good, it's maybe it's excellent or poor. So you can give the rating. Even you can say good, average, right? This is one. So these are closed-ended questions. So what are the closed-ended questions? We have options. Okay, so respondents have options to select any of the given options or possible options, answers, possible answers. These are closed-ended questions. So when it's come to the closed-ended questions, they have options to select, right? Yeah, open-ended questions. The next one is open-ended questions. Here we have open-ended questions. So what are open-ended questions? So first, what are open-ended questions? These allows respondents to answer in their own words, right? So open-ended questions, there is no options, so they can provide their own responses, right? Generally, this open-ended questions begin with what do you think about, like how would you describe, what is your opinion, right? These are some of the open-ended questions. So here it demands respondents own ideas, maybe own ideas in their own words. Okay, they are called open-ended questions. Like what is the name? So here you can't say yes, no, right? That's what they are, open-ended questions. Next, under open-ended questions, the first one is fill in the blank type. Fill in the blank type, right? How long have you been working here? How long have you been working here? Maybe you can mention year, simple. Okay, you can provide the year. Maybe 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 50 years, or something. Second one, short answer questions. What are short answer questions? So here, short answer questions may short answer questions generally expected the respondents to give complete and detailed answers, right? These answers may be different, right? These answers may be very difficult, or maybe sometimes time consuming, but they have to give some detailed responses. Okay, so they are called short answer questions. And yeah, the next one, restatement, right? Restatement questions. So this questions generally it's that mirror a respondent's previous answer, right? What is this mirror as a previous answers? For example, it is like you said you dislike completing uh, assignment, or maybe you said that you dislike completing uh, something like travel vouchers. Is that correct? Right, restatement. Is that correct? Right. So here, what I'm saying, I'm giving a statement and asking, is that statement right? You said something. Is that correct or is that wrong? Maybe here. So where the respondents, right here, we are giving an option to the respondents. So then they can provide, they can clarify, they can correct, right? They can correct their statement, right? This is yeah, what I said earlier, maybe the wrong, the correct one. So they come up with the correct response, right? This is the one. So with these questions, what happens now? We talked about uh, yeah, today's class we talked about first what